Welcome back to Askewed Reviews, and welcome back to the theme that I'm doing for the month of October, which I'm calling Spooky Season Suggestions. This is where I'm taking all of the horror movie suggestions that people have made throughout the year that I just haven't gotten to yet. So today I have a viewer request for the 2016 film Holidays. Here is your trivia question for today. What is the name of the VR headset in the Christmas segment? The answer will be at the end of this episode. So, the film Holidays is an anthology movie where each segment takes place on a different holiday. The first segment takes place during Valentine's Day, where a young girl named Maxine is constantly being made fun of by Heidi and the other girls on her swim team. Maxine also has a big crush on her swim instructor, Coach Rockwell. Now, whether it's her swim team or her coach, she may not know how to handle either situation correctly. The next segment is for St. Patrick's Day. This one actually takes place in Ireland, where we meet a school teacher named Elizabeth. She tries to spend some time with one of the children that is a bit of an outcast and seeing if she can at least make her smile. The child makes it known to her that she will only smile if the teacher gets her greatest wish granted. So Elizabeth does in fact get her greatest wish, and from there things only get darker and more absurd. In the Easter segment, a mother is preparing her daughter to go to bed and wake up for the Easter bunny the next morning. The daughter has some odd and dark questions when it comes to the Easter bunny and Jesus. The daughter eventually goes to sleep but doesn't stay there and decides to go get a drink of water. This ends up being her biggest mistake. In the Mother's Day segment, there's a woman who apparently will get pregnant every time she has sex, so she seeks help from a holistic group of women who might have some dark plans for her. Then there's the Father's Day segment, where a woman receives a tape and a tape recorder from her father, who she hasn't seen in years, and on this tape are directions on how to find him once again. Next, we have the Halloween segment, where on this night, a group of women have been staying with a man who has essentially been forcing them into making online content for other men. But with these three women working together, things just might end up changing a bit. The second to last segment is about Christmas, where a married couple named Pete and Sarah Gunderson have been trying to get this virtual reality headset for their child. After Pete makes a very dark choice, they end up getting it for their son. But when everyone views what's within it, it may not be exactly what they wanted to see. The very last segment is on New Year's Eve, where a couple end up meeting and having a okay time, and as they come home to try and celebrate the evening together, they end up having some dark secrets hidden from each other. All 8 segments in this film are directed and written by different people. Kevin Kolsch and Dennis Widmeyer are the directors and writers for Valentine's Day. Here's a reference in that segment you may not have noticed, but one of the members of the swim team is wearing a red hat with a rainbow. This is a nod to PJ Soul's character from Carrie. Gary Shore wrote and directed the St. Patrick's Day segment. Now, even though this one takes place in Ireland, the story most closely resembles the Norwegian folktale of the Lindworm Prince. Nicholas McCarthy wrote and directed Easter. This segment also has what I consider probably the most horrifying creature in the entire movie, which is an amalgamation of the Easter Bunny and Jesus called the Bunny Man, although I've seen online he has the nickname of the Geester Bunny. Sarah Adina Smith wrote and directed the Mother's Day segment. Unfortunately for me, this was probably my least favorite one, as I just didn't feel that it was all that interesting. Anthony Scott Burns wrote and directed the Father's Day segment. This was a little bit confusing, but it was also pretty fascinating, and I liked the concept. Apparently, the abandoned building that was used in this one was also used in the film The Wild Blue Yonder from 2005. Kevin Smith was the writer and director of the Halloween segment. Kevin Smith's daughter, Harley Quinn Smith, appears in this one as the character of Holly. Another familiar face is probably Harley Mortensen, who plays Ian. Scott Stewart wrote and directed the Christmas segment. Seth Green and Claire Grant were the married couple of the Gundersons in this one. What's funny is the two of them are married in real life. Adam Egypt Mortimer directed the last one, but it was actually written by Kevin Kolsch and Dennis Widmeyer. And this was the one about New Year's Eve. The movie was primarily filmed in California, with that one St. Patrick's Day segment filmed in Ireland. So when it comes to the anthology film Holidays, this one was a little interesting. I will say it did feel like some episodes of Tales from the Crypt. Unfortunately, some of the more kind of just bland ones, but they weren't terrible stories. There were definitely some stories that I did enjoy more than others, but I don't think any of them would cause me to really want to come back and rewatch this. So I'm going to give this one a 2 out of 5. Now, if you did enjoy this one, other movies I recommend checking out are Trick or Treat, Bad Candy, Campfire Tales, and Trilogy of Terror. And now it's time to answer the trivia question from the beginning of this episode. What is the name of the VR headset in the Christmas segment? So the hot toy for that Christmas was this headset, which was apparently called UView. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Askewed Reviews, and if there's a movie you'd like to see get a review, just mention it in the comments.